you is that when you stand and present, or sit and present, or present virtually, all three types of environments that you're in, that you come across compelling, that you look and sound confident, but also I'm really focused on that content, being more decisive. The other thing is, you're probably in a position in your careers where you're in that position of influence, where you're trying to get people to do something, give you something. Okay, so how do you combine your image with your knowledge to motivate people to take some action? Well, those are the tips and the skills I'm going to discuss today. Now, put yourself in this realm here. The realm is, you have to give it a presentation. I think I was talking to Brett. Brett was saying, you know, I haven't presented it that often in a while. I'm now getting back into the role where I have to present. I might present maybe 4 or 5 times a year. So as I said to him, not enough to get good, just enough to be good and nervous, right? And so, you know, what is it that you can do, or what are the feelings that you have? And so you might feel nervous or anxious or stressed about that. It's pretty typical. What are some of the feelings that you've either witnessed yourself or had experienced yourself, or maybe you've witnessed in others, that makes them look or sound a little nervous or anxious? What have you witnessed yourself or in others? Yeah, that question.
Talking very fast.
Yes, you talk very fast. And you know you're talking fast, but you can't control it. It's like, why are you talking so fast? Yes, I can fix that very, very, very fast, by the way. So that'll be something that I will correct today. Yes?
Jittery voice.
Yes.
Like shaking.
The voice gets to shake, or you become self-aware of the voice. And what happens is adrenaline in our system, which is what makes us nervous and excited, the adrenaline tends to go to areas of vulnerability for you. And in that particular case, Tiffany, it's kind of going to that throat. So what it's doing is it's going in and it's tightening down on that voice box, and it's tightening. You can feel tightness, and then all of a sudden, the quality of the voice actually does change. You can hear it sounding different, and of course, you become preoccupied by that. So there's tension in the throat. We're going to talk about how to relax that, even before, but also during. What do I do? Because I can feel it. I'm feeling a tightness. I can feel the shake. I can hear the shake. What do I do? Yes.
Inability or unwillingness to maintain eye contact.
Yeah, inability or unwillingness to maintain eye contact. So how do we get over the fact that there's 52 people staring at me right now, looking at me, and just that feeling, you can feel people looking at you, and it feels very uncomfortable if you're not used to it. Now, some people really like it. Some people like the attention, but most people have an uneasiness about that. So how do we get over that? Yep, what else? Yes, in the back. That's probably the #1 thing, and she just said, focusing on remembering what to say. It's super stressful up here. I was just talking to Kelly, who was just telling me about how in some of her presentations, the project managers, the directors, they want a lot of detail on the slides. Well, hey, in others, the CEO's like, you know what, I don't want a lot of detail. So you have all these different audiences. Some want detail, some do not want detail. How do you adjust to that? But more importantly, you get a graph up there, it's got all kinds of information. How can you possibly remember it? I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way that you can. For those of you that like to memorize or think that you need to study, and memorize, that is just a losing battle. Okay, it doesn't work. Even if you did spend the appropriate amount of time to memorize, and maybe you got 60% of it memorized, I'm going to tell you right now, when you memorize something and you're trying to pull it rote from your mind, what happens is your voice goes really flat, your stare gets kind of a flat gaze, and you don't look and sound yourself. So even though you might remember that content, you'll never be able to deliver it in a way that's compelling or dynamic. So stop trying to memorize. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that are going to allow you to go back and look at the screen without looking like you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? So I got that. I got you handled. All right. That's the kind of stuff I want you to share with me today, or bring up as things go on. If you recall some moments that you were not happy with when you presented, please bring that up, and I'm going to give you some tips and some hints on how to master that. So let's get into it. Oh, okay, the animation works strange there. All right, that's okay. First thing I like to talk about is what influences audiences. What is it that when you're communicating, again, standing, seated, or virtual, that creates the impact or the lack of impact for you? What are those things? We're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about the physical skills. We're going to go to Jeremy, we're going to go to eye contact. We're going to go Tiffany, we're going to go to voice. How do we control that? How do we project that? So we're going to talk about the basics physical skills. Now some people might say, well, this feels like speech class 101, and it will feel a little bit like that for probably 20 minutes. But what I want you to do is realize that at the end of that, I'm going to take some volunteers, and then I'm going to coach people to that success. So let me explain the basics, the core, and then you'll see me take it very advanced for the volunteers. And then the next thing is we're going to dig into our content. Everybody's going to walk out of here with, how do I put a business presentation together? What is the first thing I say, the second thing I say, the third thing? So everyone's walking out with a depth that should be done. Now, if for some reason you didn't bring a computer or you didn't get the pre-work, talk to me on the break, and I will either partner you up with somebody or I will give you a USB drive with the pre-work on it, and you'll at least have it on your computer. I'm going to talk about how to handle tough questions. So you're feeling pretty good, you're in a groove, things are going your way, and then the tough questions start to come. And then all of a sudden the confidence starts to waver a little bit, and you start to be feeling like you're getting thrown off your game. Anybody had that happen before? Yeah, we all do. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you some techniques, some processes of how do you manage a room so that when somebody starts to get tough with you, that you look in command, but you don't look like you're running from that person. So that'll be Q&A. And then the last bit of the day is the 3:30 process. And I know most of you don't always stand and present. So a lot of your presenting, your communicating is seated, and it might even be virtual or on the phone. So I want to transition these physical skills, the content piece, to what do we do when we're actually seated across the table from people. So by the end of the class, you will have standing, seated, virtual. You'll have a controlled content process. You'll have an impromptu process. So you're going to have all the tips and tricks that you're going to need. And remember what I told you the goal is? Probably going to walk out of here with one or two key things that you're going to hang on to. So you're going to get a lot, but you're kind of on the hunt for what do I think is going to move my dial, my personal dial, I'm talking about you. What's going to move my dial so that the next time I'm in that high profile situation, I know what I need to do in order to look better. Okay? Let's get going. So obviously, you're going to get some specific presentation tips, and you're going to witness some people get some coaching. One of the things about me as a presentation or a presenter is I'm very focused on people's natural style. Many times you'll come to events like this and you'll have an instructor in front of you, and it's almost like it's a little bit circusy. Like they're like, okay, now everybody, let's get together and we're going to have a good day today. Okay, we're not in a circus. We're business professionals. Most of us are just trying to communicate what we've got up here to go over there. And it's not an entertainment. We're not big. I do get on a big stage, and do I get a little bit bigger? Yeah, I do. But for the majority of us, it's just we're just trying to get what's in our heart and in our mind out to the other person in a compelling way. So I'm very focused when I coach people to be their natural self. Now, we might have a salesperson in here, and salespeople, by nature, typically tend to be a little bit louder, they tend to be a little bit more jovial, they tend to be a little bit more physically open. Okay? But I got a lot of engineers in here today. I looked at your titles. And you don't even really want to be there, much less having your heart be open. Okay? All right? I get that. So you're not going to stand up here and do this. You're going to, for you, your gestures are probably going to be more contained, more controlled. Your tone of voice is probably going to be a little bit softer. So my job is to find your authentic self, your authentic best self, within who you are. Okay, so if I try to coach somebody who's more an introvert, who doesn't present a lot, to be like this, they will perform for us when we have them in a class, but they're not gonna maintain. So it doesn't work. So you'll see me, like some people will be way out here and they'll be fine, and other people I'll be like, that looks really good, and they're right in here. Because I'm reading their body language, I'm asking them who they are, I'm looking at the titles, what their natural tendencies are gonna be, and I'm gonna know that they're never gonna do that, okay? So be assured that if you wanna volunteer, that I get that, and that's why you'll see me ask, what is your title, what is it you do, because I'm already kind of putting you in a little category of what would be normal and expected for your level of expertise, okay? The bio quiz. So I like to have some fun, learn a little bit about us, and you can go to our website. It's power-presentations.com on your phone or whatever. Please don't do that now, but you can do it later. And I'm going to ask you some quizzes on my biography. So it's just kind of fun, like who am I, what am I about? I don't usually stand up and give a big long list of what I do and who I am. You can find that in a million different places on the internet. But on my website, you'll just go to, I think you go to, what you'll do is you'll go up to go to About and then Consultants, and then you'll find my name and read a little bit about me. You get 2 presents to choose from. You get one of these little pens, and it has one of the little soft things on it, so if you like to do that, okay, some of you like that. But usually the popular gift, which is not the gift that I would choose, but it's goo. You know goo? And you take it out and you play with it. It's kind of like sticky, well, not sticky, but it's Play-Doh. It's like goop. It's got plastic over it. People play with it and they squeeze it and they pull it. And this is the popular one. I wouldn't pick it, but everyone seems to pick it. So it's fun. It's fun to play with. It's it's a toy. Okay. And it has your name on it. Okay. So we will do a little quiz throughout. Okay, let's talk about what influences those audiences. You go in, it's a high-profile meeting. Let's just say it's seated. You've got a particular topic that you need to talk about. It is now your turn to speak. You are speaking. It's going along just fine. You leave the group environment, and immediately people begin to talk about you or what you had to say. Right? So that's the scene. There's where your head is. There are 3 things that influence audiences, and this is a study that was done quite a long time ago. And what's going to happen is we're measuring what the verbal, visual, and vocal is. Verbal is going to be the content or your knowledge. Content or your knowledge. And by the way, I see some people writing, and that's fine. You can do that. They don't let me do handouts anymore because everything's paperless. But there was a handout that's attached to this program, and all of this stuff is in there. I don't have the slides because I never give my IP slides away, but these 3 words along with the percentages, I'm going to give them to you. Now, lots of us learn by also writing things down, so I get that as well. So if you want to take a few notes, go ahead, but the majority of this stuff is in that handout. Okay, so just wanted you to know that. Okay, verbal, which is 1/3 of the influence, is what you know. It's verbal, it's the content. Visual piece of it is going to be what we see. You see me, you see the slides, you see handouts. It's what we see as it relates to the communication. Vocal is the quality of our voice, the tone of it, the volume of it, the speed of it, or lack thereof. Verbal is content, visual is what we see, vocal is what we hear. Now, the premise is what influences audiences. These 3 qualities are going to equal 100% when we're done with this little survey that we're about to do. So the number is going to be 100. And I will just tell you, depending on your audience, the percentages are going to shift around depending on the different audiences. If you're talking to a financial audience, clearly they're going to be more focused on the verbal. So knowing that the numbers will shift around a little bit, we're just going for the trend right now. What percent do you think would be the verbal, the content? What percent?
50%. 35.
Yeah, just shout out numbers. Somebody said 35, yeah? Yes, go ahead.
35.
35, yeah. What percent? Because we know we're gonna get to 100. What else? 35 good for you? Higher, lower?
10.
10. Sabrina says 10. Jeremy, you were gonna say 50? Yeah, Jeremy's gonna say 50. Because he's a technical guy. Okay? So of course, it's gonna be more important. Anybody else?
25.
25, 35, 25, 10, 50. Anybody would think higher than 50?
Say
15. Okay, so the trend is going in the right direction. So, yeah, Jeremy's not happy. He's a very expressive man, I'm just going to tell you. I see his face, he's very expressive, so that's good. No, you should not be happy about this. This number is insulting. It's an insulting number. Now remember, there's a catchword here, influences. I didn't say required. So the 7% is going to change and likely going to go up in an engineering audience and a financial audience. That number is going to go up, for sure. These numbers are going to shift around. But I just want to, we're going to circle back and talk about this here in a little bit. So if the content's only 7, which is an insult to many of us, what's the visual going to be? We got 93 left. 75. Somebody else had another number over here. Did I hear 65? Darren, what did I hear you say? 75. Okay.
I say 85.
85.
25.
25. Okay. So it's 55 visual, 38 vocal. Here's the takeaway from this little survey says. The takeaway is don't get hooked on the numbers. The takeaway is what influences people in the beginning, the first piece of what they see, is what they see, and what they hear. So in those first 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, people are making decisions, i.e. judgments, about your knowledge based on how you look and how you sound. Okay? Because if we are influenced in a positive way, when somebody begins to communicate, what do we do when we're in a meeting? We're in a meeting, somebody's talking, let's just say they're mumbling down to a piece of paper. We know that they're the vice president of engineering, so that we know they're really smart. We know they know a lot of things, but if they're kind of mumbling, shuffling with the papers, what do we do as listeners to that? What do we do? Check out. We know this person has the content knowledge. We know that. But the delivery of it causes us to disconnect. The reason why I like to start my sessions, and we start all of our training sessions, whether we do a session like this with a lot of people, whether we do a smaller session with this information, is because I really want you to begin to think about shifting how you prepare for these important meetings that you have. Because we spend the majority of our time focused on the quality of the content. And while I do believe content is king, and actually I had somebody, a woman, saying she was presenting to a group of women, and she called it content is queen. I loved that. King or queen, while I do believe that in my heart, I spend a lot of time on quality content. What I want you to leave this class realizing is you have got to allocate time to how you look and how you talk. When I tell people to practice for their presentation, I always say to them, you're not practicing by looking at your laptop and quietly reading what you have to say or mumbling through. A legitimate practice for you needs to take place where the computer is away from you, at home, on the kitchen table, and you're standing back like this, and there's the computer, and you turn your back to the computer, and then you talk to the plant, the TV, the dog, whatever. You have to hear yourself speak out loud, and you have to hear that your voice has to rattle in your body, all right? And that's a legitimate practice. And if you can do that a couple of different times, it'll dramatically change what happens for you that day. Because just feeling the words go through your body and hearing the words go through your body will help you a lot. What do you think of this?
It's hard for me to wrap my head around that.
Yeah, for sure. I don't live and breathe by these numbers. The reason I show it, and I'm not a big fan of it, most of the people I'm working with, the content is very, very important. The reason I like to show it is I want you to begin to think about balancing out your prep for the physical and the vocal. for the physical and vocal. Okay, let's move on. So let's talk about those physical skills. You'll see me go drink a lot of water because I have to talk all day today. In our classroom training programs that we do, where we do a lot of video recording and personalized coaching, I'll talk like this and then I'll go sit down and then all of you will stand up and present. But in this class today, I talk almost for 6 hours, so it's kind of a long day from a vocal perspective, so I always try to keep a lot of water on. Okay, physical skills coaching. This is the speech class 101 I was telling you about. Common sense, here we go, eye contact. We gotta pause and breathe when we're communicating. We're gonna use these guys, our hands. How many of you suddenly become very aware that you have hands when you're presenting and you don't know what to do with them? It's like, what are these guys doing? You know, or why are they locked? Or why are they back here? I never stand like this. What is wrong with me today? You become very conscious of the hands. I'm gonna talk about how to not do that. Squaring up and standing tall. If you have a very casual environment, many of our clients have planned environments and they wear jeans and hard-toed shoes to work, and that's what they do. You know, they're very casual environments, but how do you still take command when you're in those really casual environments? Walk and movement. Somebody asked me, how do I feel about the left turn? Well, you can see how I feel about the left turn. It's over here to hold things. And in fact, when they redesigned these rooms, I was very instrumental. They used to have these things that came right to this. I don't know if you've been around a long time here, but they used to have all of this like right here. I'm like, you gotta take that front row out because as communicators, we need to move. You know, we need to get in front of people. We don't want to have people stand back here. Why do you think Sheri Jeavons doesn't like, and this is a lower left turn, why do you think I don't like left turns?
You're hidden.
Yeah, I'm really hidden. Now this is a low, they did do a nice job of lowering. Most left turns are about right here. And so they'll hit me right about here, and if I've got people, if I'm on a stage and they're down there, they're lucky if they get to see my head. No, that's not what you want when you're communicating. You want to be seen. So when I get in those situations, I always, and then they'll have a big left turn, and then they'll have a bunch of plants and stuff, and I'm always there an hour in advance with the maintenance people. Could you move that really quickly? Move that over there. So that I can at least get right here, worst case scenario. So then people can see me. So I'll clear that little area out so I can at least do that. Because I like to move. And then the last one is vocal variety. You heard me talk about this before about voice. I was checking the volume on this, but notice I'm not screaming, I'm talking. I do have the mic on today because it's 6 hours of talking and I want to make sure the back of the room can hear me. And what will happen in a room like this is that you'll feel like you need to shout to get to the back of the room, and it kind of feels like somebody's shouting at you all day long. So and you've been to sessions like that with a person is kind of, it's like a show instead of communication. I'm very much focused on communicating versus entertaining. Let's talk about eye contact. We're leading off here with what you said to me earlier, and that is eye contact. Number one skill to help reduce nervousness. Let's write that one down. Number one skill to help reduce nervousness is going to be properly conducted eye contact. What does that mean? Eye contact is going to help you connect with the audience. Eye contact is going to help you manage distractions in the room. If people are talking in the back of the room, if you look around and everybody's head's down on the computer, it'll help you do that. It also is going to help with body language. Eye contact is going to help with body language. I'm going to teach that today. And then it's also very much going to help you remember what to say. Is the person up? Yes, ma'am. She's nodding her head. Eye contact is going to help you think more clearly. Okay? So let me ask some questions. How many of you were taught back in the day when you were in school to scan the room? Anybody taught to scan the room? Anybody heard that? You got to scan the room. Make sure you look at everybody. Scan the room. Make sure you look at everybody. Okay. Probably the worst talk technique ever. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. You do not scan the room. And I put my hand up when I'm scanning just to show you. Of course, I have a room that's kind of that wraps like this. Most of the time you don't have people to my far left, to my far right. But if I'm scanning, and I'm not gonna, and you don't go like this when you scan. You tend to jump a little bit, like you'll jump around a little bit like this, and then you'll John. What am I not doing as a communicator if I'm scanning? What happens? I'm putting my hand up because you can see.
You don't focus.
I'm not focused. My eyes are not focused. So guess what else struggles with the focus? The brain. The brain. If the eyes are not focused, if the eyes are jumping, the eyes are driving what happens with the brain. And so that means then you're not able to focus on your thoughts in your mind, and you're going like this, and it's like you're going like this with your head, and then you're wondering why you can't concentrate clearly. Think about it. When we concentrate on something, what do? We stop, we kind of look down, or we look away, and we kind of act frozen a little bit. And then we come back up. What we have to do when we're communicating, seated or standing, is we have to have good, slow, decisive eye contact. That's what we have to do. But what does that mean? How do I accomplish that? Here's what I want you to do. 3 to 5 seconds on individuals. Now, I don't need people. I know I have a lot of engineers in here today. Please don't time it. Okay, it's not about that. Communicating it's an art, it's not a science, so you can't measure it. But if you were to measure it, you're looking at somebody for a complete thought, and then you're moving to somebody else. But notice what I'm not doing. I'm not ever going like this, and then like this, and then back here, and then like this. I'm not jumping around. What I'm doing is I'm going to a small pocket of people, then I'll look at somebody, then I'll look at somebody else, and I'll look at somebody else. Look what I'm doing. I'm ignoring. Nothing is going to these folks. And then when I go, I take everything, and I go to the middle of the room. And I'm looking here. Look, I'm not looking at anybody over there. And then I'll go and I might look back here. And I'm not looking anywhere there. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you permission to slowly work the room and ignore certain pockets. You can only look forward. You have 2 eyes, they go together. They can only really look at one person. When you look at a person, you can see the peripheral, but you really can only see one person at a time. So the more you emulate that when you're presenting in a larger group, the calmer you're going to be, because that's what your body's used to doing. The more your brain will function normally, and the more you'll be able to recall information. When you disrupt that flow of communicating by moving your eyes really quickly, by jumping around, your brain then gets very jumpy, your heart goes faster. If eyes go fast, heart goes fast, thoughts go fast, speaking pace goes fast, gestures, because they don't move fast, they lock down, the hands lock down, and it's just a big, I was going to say something in the S show. That's what I was going to say. I realized I got the video camera on today, so then I caught myself. No, let's not do that. It's just a mess, okay? And that's why when you go, you're motoring along, you think you're doing okay, then all of a sudden, boom, you hit the wall, and it's almost like you got to fall backwards because you can't remember anything, you've run out of breath, the whole bit. Can anyone identify with these things? Some of you can. Okay. So when I'm on a plane and people say, what do you do for a living? And we start up a conversation, and I say, oh, what's the number one thing I'm supposed to do? This is it, eye contact. If you can learn eye contact today, remember I told you there's 1 or 2 things you're going to walk out the door with that you're going to want to remember? Most of you are going to want to remember this one. Because if you can learn this eye contact piece, it's going to keep you calm, it's going to help you remember what to say, it's going to help you with your gestures, it's going to slow down the speaking pace, it's going to reduce the non-words, it's magic. And the beauty of today is I'm going to let you witness that with some people because we're going to take some volunteers and they're going to talk fast. And they're going to have non-words. And they're going to jump their eyes around because that's what we do when we're not professional speakers. And then you're going to see me teach them, settle it down, and then they're going to start to look better like within a minute. I spend a lot of time on eye contact because I know it's the key to your success. Walk and plan is a choice. Here's the key about walking and planning. Eyes, hips, toes, got to go together. Okay, so when I move my eyes over here, I got to move the rest of it. Notice if it's a big move for my head, look how little the movement of the body can be. Those who like to walk, you're going to look and then you're going to go. You're going to go. Look how I'm going though. I'm looking and then I'm going. Everything's going. So it feels, for those of you that are not used to doing this, feels very stick-like you're going like this. That's what it feels like, because some of you are used to doing this. You're used to having your head this way and your feet going this way. You're like, I'll be back. I'm going over here. I don't want you to think I'm leaving. So your body's going one way, your head's going the other way. If you're that kind of a speaker and you kind of move around a lot, it's going to feel very much like this. However, it's going to be better for you personally and emotionally. It's going to look better to the audience. So toes, hips, eyes go the same direction. They move. Okay. Squaring up and standing tall, you see our nice example here. Squaring up and standing tall means the toes, the hips, the shoulders go forward. Now, again, some of you said, well, we're in casual environments. Women with heels. You notice today I have a lot of heels that are skinny ones, but when I'm working, I tend to wear the fatter ones. It just so happens that they're in vogue right now, which is great for me. But, I want to be really solid on my feet when I'm standing, particularly a long day like this. So I wear shoes that are super comfortable, and I also wear shoes where I'm not worried about, like, am I going to wobble off these shoes. Standing tall, what I mean by that is you're not leaning. So ladies, we tend to do that. We tend to put one hip out, we got that heel going like this. Here's why that's not good for you. The hip is out, this goes like this, you're kind of moving like that. But the thing I don't like the most about this is our head will tend to tip, and then we're talking and we're doing kind of this. And what does, when our head tips to one side or the other, what does that say? It says, I'm not sure. When the head is tipping, folks, men or women, but women will tend to do it more than men, I'm not sure. So you gotta get weight even so that the body, the spine aligns and you're tall. For some of you, it's gonna feel, again, very stiff. It's gonna feel that way, it's not going to look that way. Taking a breath. This is going to be the key to your success in remembering what to say. Eye contact first, breathing is second. If you don't take your time up here, and you don't breathe, and you don't find opportunity to look back to that screen and be thoughtful about it, you're going to be one miserable presenter. And at the end of the day, after an hour or two, you're going to be super exhausted too. So you've got to breathe up here. I'm going to teach techniques this afternoon about breathing and how to do that. You can't just tell yourself, breathe. That's not good enough. You have to have actual processes. I have those for you later today. And I've already kind of talked about voice and authenticity and enthusiasm. I would just say for most of us, the level of energy that is needed to project excitement out to the room is usually a little bit higher than what you think. So you're usually speaking a little bit louder. And we'll experiment with that today. Voice and hands, they go together. So when the voice is authentically at its authentic natural volume, the hands will gesture like they would normally gesture. If I see somebody standing up here and their hands are just dead, or just standing like a fish, dead, then I know that the voice is too low or too quiet or too controlled, because the voice and the hands are like puppets. Voice goes up, hands go up. Voice is flat, boring, or tight, hands will stay down. Okay? I don't teach people how to do gestures. Gestures are subconsciously happening within anybody's framework, their body. So I don't say, okay, when you go to the left, lead with the left. If you're going forward, lead with the hands forward. Again, silliness. People talk that though. Your body's going to do what your body's going to do. My job is to get it in a place where it feels more relaxed, and that it just starts to do what it's going to do. Okay? All of these things have to do with getting you grounded, getting you connecting with people like you do in your everyday communications, and then allowing that natural energy to flow. Okay, hands. We don't want you going in here. Those of you that are in the military ROTC, you're used to that parade rest. We're not going to have you do that. Sometimes you lock them in front, you get confused. We love these little clickers because then you can just like covet it like it's like a special gold piece of jewelry or something. But we're not. We're going to let the hands be free. They've gotten these smaller and smaller so that they don't, control us. But still, you're still going to gesture with this thing. What you're going to do is you want to keep your hands free. So you're going to want to have your hands at the sides when you start. Because if you have good eye contact, and you're looking at somebody, your hands will go towards that person. Now remember when I said if the eyes are moving fast, everything goes fast? The exception to that are the hands. If the eyes move fast, these guys go where these go. Okay, so the gestures shoot out to the person I'm looking at. But if my head is bopping around like this, my hands don't do this. They don't go, ooh, yep, They don't do that. They get confused because they're really slow. Gestures are slow. They tend to happen like I don't know what the exact time is, but they happen a little bit after you look at somebody. So if your head's moving like this, your poor hands can't keep up, so then they will lock. They'll go, I don't know what to do here, so I'm just going to go away. They will lock. They'll lock here, they'll lock onto here, they'll lock into pockets, they'll lock behind, they'll lock here. Some people will even stand up here with their hands on their hips. Okay? They get confused. So eye contact is the lead, you gotta go slow, and then the hand will go afterwards. Okay.